left and right, and both their strength and durability seem to have decreased from their season 1.
Alright, folks. We are back. We are back. Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We're doing debates. The line is open. Feel free to call in, have a conversation, have a debate. The line is 305-209-5560, and you can be heard. If you happen to disagree with what I have to say, you will be heard. It'll be a great time, a great discussion, all that fun stuff. You will be. Folks, you can also leave a like to support the stream. Let's get it pushed in the algorithm. Everybody go ahead and leave a like, double tap the stream. If you're just scrolling by and you're not going to stick around, that's okay. Double tap that stream, leave a like, and who knows, maybe it'll be in your likes folder. Maybe you come back and you see what maybe you want to support in the long run. You know what I mean? That would be appreciated. And who knows, maybe it'll be in your likes folder. Maybe you come back and you see what maybe you want to support in the long run. You know what I mean? That would be appreciated. And who knows, music's still a little while. Maybe you just don't have music. Lo-fi or something. Hold up. This is on the lo-fi. As we do.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house.
I want to buy your house. Folks, if you think that Donald Trump is looking out for you, you think he's a working class hero, you think Elon Musk cares about the poorest person in society and doesn't view you as a parasite, then feel free to call in, have a debate, have a conversation, leave some likes to support the stream to boost it in the algorithm. Triaxi. Bizarre name there, buddy. But why do you disagree? Feel free to respond, feel free to ask your questions, express your disagreement, because this is what they call the marketplace of ideas, man. Big ideas here. My head is filled with such big ideas. That's what Dave Rubin would be like. But what exactly do you disagree on? You think that they're going to pass policy that favors the working class? Because I would like to know what policy that would be. You think they've been doing a good job in the last few weeks? Because I strongly disagree there. I am pleased with how much Trump has accomplished in the first month. What has he accomplished? And also, if you want to have a conversation, you can call him to the number 305. What was that? 209? Let me see. 209-5560. You recognize the music? Yeah, man. It's Zelda lo-fi beats. Good little background music before we get into the calls. Yep, it is Zelda. But I personally am not satisfied with the direction the country is going. I mean, you got inflation going up, excuse me. Back going up after it was going down. You have economic instability in general. You got rampant imperialist thought being pushed. You got anti-worker, anti-consumer actions, I would dare say. You have Elon essentially running the show, and he was never even elected into office. He bought his way into the White House using our corrupt campaign finance system, which, you know, if we want to actually deal with corruption, we should be concerned about that. What's your biggest concern? I mean, there's a lot of concerns. Number one, the whole thing about freezing funds and Elon cutting programs that he personally doesn't like is unconstitutional. It's a pretty simple setup that we have in our government that we had for its entire existence. Congress passes the law or creates the laws, the president passes the laws, and the judiciary sees if it's constitutional or not. A lot of the action that Elon's doing is taking things that were passed through that legal process and just saying, nope, money's not going to go to it. Nah, we're not going to run it anymore. One of the best examples that I could say of it hurting regular people is if you look at like the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB. It returned $21 billion to the American people while only costing a couple $100 million. That's significant, you know? Of course, it's not favorable to Elon. It's not favorable to the billionaire class in general because who is a consumer supposed to be protected from the billionaire class? The corporations that look at regular people like you or me or whoever, and they simply see dollar signs. Ramat says we should elect Andrew Tate instead. That would certainly be something. That would certainly be something, folks. Folks, if you disagree, you can call in. We can have a conversation. And I see that there's 10 people here. We can get 10 likes real quick. If all of you hit that like button, smash that like button, bruh, and subscribe too. Let's get that number up. But yeah, no, there really hasn't been a single good thing for working people. The real question is, what good things are they going to do? I can't think of any. "19 people here. Thank you for watching, folks. If you disagree with what I have to say, feel free to call in. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a debate. Personally, folks, I think that Elon Musk and Donald Trump do not give a damn about the regular people. In fact, one could easily come to the conclusion that based on the policies that they're supporting and the policies that they're pushing, they don't just have a sort of neutral lack of care for the working class and people like you or people like I. They have a disdain." Trixie says, or Trick Axie, whatever your name is there, says, "I haven't heard anything from Andrew Tate lately." Yeah, I don't know. He's having problems with the legal issues in Romania. "Hearing less of them is a better world." You know, it's good for the world, folks. But yes, there really isn't much decent things coming from the Donald Trump administration, at least in the first month or so. Definitely not his first term, and definitely not the things that he promises to do. I would love to hear those who disagree, those who feel strongly and otherwise. You guys can call in. You guys should also leave some likes just to support the stream. Let's push it a little bit in the algorithm. Leave some chat messages, ask your questions, and so on. And call into the number 305-209-5560. And we can have a wonderful conversation about the issues facing all of us in the present day. 10 people watching. Let's get those likes up. I see it went up by 1. I got to 4. 12 people watching. 2 more people coming in. That could be 2 more likes. Leave some likes. Leave some support if you think that Donald Trump is actually hurting the regular people. But also if you disagree. If you think that Donald Trump is looking out for regular working class people, you know, feel free to call in, have a conversation, have a debate, and so on and so forth. Abram says, "Fight the coup, yo." Exactly, you know. This is one way of doing activism, I guess, is interacting with the other side, debating their ideas, and honestly, a lot of the time you'll likely have to put the ideas down a little bit. "Americans, no one but you can stop it." That is true. That is true. I think that this must be, I'm assuming when you say Americans, this must be, you're probably not from here, so it must be bizarre for a person from outside the country looking into this country. They're like, oh my god. It's not like the typical, oh, random government, you know, that's in a third world country is, suddenly there's a coup and a revolution and so on and so on. The difference is that America is so massive. America is so influential. We got so much, you know, being frank, weapons and so on and so forth, that really should not be in the wrong hands. But, you know, kind of is. Bro, I'm from East Europe, and Trump is about to sell us to Putin. Yo, it's terrifying. It's actually terrifying. I don't know which Eastern European country you're from, but frankly, if I'm any of the Eastern European countries, or in any of them, from Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, any of those countries should be real concerned. Alice says, "What's happening here? We're having a debate or stream. People that disagree with what I gotta say are able to call in, have a conversation, have a debate. 305-209-5560. I'm not a big Trump fan. I think the policies are bad. There are people that usually call in that are Trump fans, and the conversations are at least interesting." Trixie says, "Any comments on the Israeli hostages?" I mean, nobody should be a hostage. That's pretty much it. I think the best way to get hostages is not really being done, hasn't really been being done by Israel. You know, just bombing as much as possible. You're more likely to die if you're hostages by an Israeli bomb, I would say, than even by Hamas. But I condemn Hamas. I can condemn the IDF as well, because hurting civilians, harming civilians is disgusting in my view. But yes, hopefully every hostage is free. Hopefully Palestine will be free as well, and shit works out. But, you know, unfortunately under Donald Trump, that does not seem to be the case. You know, there was that quote-unquote ceasefire, a ceasefire which Israel was very quick to violate. They continued the bombings, they continued the killings, and unsurprisingly, it's falling apart. Alice says, "I'm from Australia, and, well, a lot of American politics affects us. I usually ignore politics, but not the disaster to the world." Yeah, no, I understand that. The thing is this. You're not alone when you say that. Majority of people are not political people. For example, with the election, Donald Trump won, right? He got more votes than Kamala Harris, but people are kind of acting like it was this massive mandate. It really wasn't. The voting population of the United States does not represent the majority of the voting population of the United States. And then, in addition, neither of the candidates got over 50%. Trump got 49% or so. Kamala got 48%. So even with that smaller group of Americans, they couldn't even get a majority. So really, it wasn't a mandate. Alice says, sorry for the spelling, half asleep. No problem, Alice. Belinda Mueller says, disgusting post. What? This post, this video, this stream, saying these words, saying the title, whatever? What's disgusting about it? Is the truth disgusting? Because I find the truth necessary, folks. There's 27 people here. If you're not a fan of Donald Trump, maybe even if you're a fan of Donald Trump, but if you are a fan, you can call in, let's have a debate. If you're not a fan, or if you're a fan, you can also like the stream. You can also talk in the chat. Trixie, I'm assuming your name is Trixie. Triaxle? I don't know. I'm going to call it Trixie. Trixie says, we voted for change. Yeah, I mean, you guys are going to get change. You're probably going to get Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid all fucked up, man. But that's not exactly the change we need. Not every change is a good change. So, we should be very concerned. Trixie says, I'm a mega fan. I could kind of tell, my friend. But, Stockholm Syndrome is actually very common in this country. Well, everyone has a right to an opinion, and debate is nothing. So nothing wrong with that. Goes for all aspects of human life, belief, politics, and values. Exactly. Look, I mean, this is a platform even for people that disagree with me. They can come in here, have a conversation with me, go hard on me, question me, as I'm going to question them. And I've had a lot of respectful conversations that were decent. I've had some conversations that were not so great, where people were being very silly. Right? But I treat silly people as silly people, That's when it gets to those blood sports debates, but some people are very entertained by that. Folks, if you want to support the stream, if you want to push it a little bit so we get it on more MAGA people's feeds, and we can have some people call in for the debate, leave some likes, folks. Tracy says, I am wealthy, so I might be biased. Yeah, I mean, if you're wealthy, then... With recessions, for example, wealthy people are the least bothered by economic downturn, right? But the majority of people get fucked over by it, so, yeah. This person says, we as people should respect one another, as no one person comes from the same views and aspects of life like this subject. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about respect, man. There are videos of me being very disrespectful, but that's me responding to disrespectful individuals. I will show the utmost respect to someone that also shows respect. I mean, I've had agreements with Republican politicians that have called in, and we've come to an agreement on issues like the border and so on and so forth. But, there are some people that are more extreme, a lot more radical, and they're unwilling to have those decent conversations. But at least that gives people the sort of blood sports that some people quite enjoy with political debate in general, Like watching a boxing match, sometimes you want to watch the people, really go at it, rather than, having the most amazing footwork and dodging every potential punch. Now, that's also good to see as a fan, but the casual viewer might want to see a bit more action. Alice says it happens. People be disrespectful. Sometimes you need to dish it out. Trixie says you seem respectful, unlike most of the others on Team Blue. Oh, well, a lot of MAGA would disagree with that. And I do think, if I want to just be direct, most MAGA voters are unfortunately voting to hurt themselves, hurt the country, and so on and so forth. The unconstitutionality of what Elon is doing is disturbing. We're sliding into authoritarianism, but it's not like a typical slide you see in a playground. It's not a slide. It's a cliff, 90 degrees. So I'm respectful on an individual level, but I have no respect for what they're doing in the White House, what they're doing in DC. It's disturbing. What are my thoughts on AI? I mean, we're hearing grand promises of it potentially curing disease and all that kind of stuff. Let's see if it can do that. So far, unfortunately, what we've been seeing with AI is a lot of taking things that are that should be sort of the side things, the things that bring joy. You know what I'm saying? Being an artist, making music, making, paintings and so on and so forth. And we're making AI do that while we're out here working minimum wage jobs and well, some of our jobs are being sent away, and we're letting AI do the luxuries. So it just kind of pisses me off a little bit. Maddie says, who built the cages, Joe? First of all, my name's not Joe. Second of all, a lot of Democrats do a hell of a lot of deportations, and I disagree with their methods. They're not fundamentally solving the immigration issue. They're just deporting. And if you have a problem with them building cages or whatever, then maybe you would also have a problem when Donald Trump does it as well, for consistency's sake. Trixie says, what was Elon's most provocative action by far? Well, I think the most embarrassing stuff, if you're a MAGA supporter or an Elon fan, and you continue to support this, is gutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the National Labor Relations Board. These agencies have practically exclusively helped people. The CFPB returned $21 billion to Americans that were victims of fraud. The National Labor Relations Board protects our right to unionize and organize our workplace. And these rich people, of course, do not align with those needs. And they gutted that. I think that's the most clear, us versus them aspect of this administration. It's not about left, right, liberal, conservative. It's us versus fucking them. They're fucking us in the ass. They're destroying this country. But overall, the whole thing about Elon and Doge, I'm gonna go into this agency that was approved decades ago by a bill by Congress, signed into law. We're gonna go in, we're gonna take the money out, we're gonna fire the employees, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna destroy everything. It's not constitutional. Simple as that. If you don't like, for example, USAID, you want to get rid of USAID as a program completely, the way to go about that is not to go in there and be like, we're gonna pause the payments for HIV treatment and let kids die of AIDS. The way you handle that is, we're gonna pass a bill, it's gonna be signed by the president and put into law, and then those kids can fucking die of AIDS. I'm not saying that those kids should die of AIDS, but there's a process to fucking things up. They're going outside the process, and that's one of the most concerning things about them, because you go outside the process, you keep testing the waters, you keep seeing how deep you can go until you're fucking drowning. Not great. Alright. Alice says, I say it's good and bad, but at the end, I feel like it'll be misused to help. I think in general, things like efficiency are good concepts, but they are not running the government efficiency in Doge. Or more efficiently. They're not pushing for more efficiency. They're pushing for silly stuff. This person here says, yo, namesake, how are you going, bro? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How are you doing? You look and talk like a guy who's never been punched in the face. Thank you, Aaron. Alright. Great argument. Trixie says, I disagree. Sending $50 million worth of condoms to third world countries saves some for us. America first. Trixie, that was a lie. Specifically, the lie was, we're sending $50 million of condoms to Hamas. Then they had to retract that because it was actually, contraceptives and so on and so forth were being sent to a different Gaza in a different place of the world. Obviously not to the $50 million worth. Otherwise, you'd be dealing with billions and billions and billions of condoms. The typical things of contraceptions across the world. An example is the Jordan, and it's usually tens of thousands of dollars worth. They're lying to you. Donald Trump also said $100 million of condoms were being sent. So he's confirming that he's lying. Either the 50 million or the 100 million is a lie. Don't believe these people. When they're like, oh, we're saving you this money, we're saving you that money, we're saving this money, we're saving that money. No, they're just going to put it more into subsidies for people like Elon and other corporate welfare queens. They're going to put it into war. They're going to put it into bombs. They're not saving us money. In fact, they took an agency, the CFPB, which objectively saves us money. Objectively. It gave the American people $21 billion. Okay? And they took that away from us. Because they fucking hate you. They fucking hate me. They hate working people, period. That's fair to say. Yeah, I also think that with leaders, it's sad to see when they do things like tariffs or war. It's always the innocent people who pay the price, the cost of living. Exactly, the tariffs are so silly, and Donald Trump knows it's going to raise prices. That's why he doesn't talk about lowering prices anymore. In fact, when he's asked about it, he's like, frankly, folks, lowering prices is actually a really difficult thing to do, folks. Yeah, everybody knows it's difficult, but you promised to do it day one. That's why people are calling your ass out. And then, of course, the inflation is back, period. Trixie says Elon spaceships are cheaper than NASA. NASA really just doesn't get much investments in general. Elon is the wealthiest man in the world. I don't know the price of each individual spaceship, but giving money and giving money and giving money and giving money to a guy who's the richest guy in the world is kind of bizarre to me. It really is. Apparently they want to go after Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They want to take 800, and then let's go beyond Elon Musk and Donald Trump. The Republican Congress is trying to push through reconciliation a budget bill which will cut $800 billion from Medicaid. That's healthcare for the disabled and the poor. He wants to go out here and take out $200 billion, I believe, from food stamps, which is food for the poor. So make the poor starve, take away their health care, take away the health care from the disabled community. They're not looking out for the little guy. They're not looking out for people. Elon has expressed interest in going after Social Security. This isn't even a generational thing. Oh man, Nathan, you only care about things because you're a young fella. This is about the old generation too. The old heads, unks. The motherfuckers in the villages in Florida, the old people that like Donald Trump and all this shit, they're gonna fuck you in the ass. Brian says apparently you like government waste. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that, Brian? Call in, pussy. Call in, have a conversation. Why do you hear some basic ass shit, normal ass shit, and you're like, well, must be you like the government waste, man. Why? Because I don't suck Elon's dick? Starlink is closing the digital divide in remote regions. I would rather have a nice infrastructure program to give these people consistent broadband, high-speed broadband, which would be good for jobs, which would be good for these communities, rather than depending on a billionaire that will control it, right? Brian says, some of us have real jobs so that you can suck up all our taxes. Brian, I'm on none of these programs. Many Trump voters are. Many people in the Republican South are. So, I'm saying that they shouldn't be fucked over. What country, in your opinion, will deliver the most advanced cars in the coming? I would hope America and maybe even Japan could stay in the game, but I'm gonna be frank here, folks. Let's keep it real as fuck. You know what company sold the most electric vehicles in the world? It wasn't Tesla. It was some Chinese company. I don't know their cars, I don't know their brand, but they're outselling American companies. All of the American companies, all of the European companies, all of the Japanese companies. Because they have a government which is flawed and authoritarian and so on and so forth. But there's a difference between authoritarians that are incompetent and authoritarians that are a little bit more competent. They have a much more competent government where they understand that you have to invest in your country, invest in the industry, invest, period, to grow. So, internationally, when it comes to sort of the car market, as America turns to isolation, at least within the next 4 years, China will not just be filling out the car industry. They'll be filling out every industry. Fuss says, go live there then. Fuss, I love this talking point because you guys never stop saying that. Why would you not, if you disagree with your government actions, why would you not want to make it better? I'm not saying China is perfect. I criticize China all the time. Brian then says, duh, we used to let them import cars into our country without tariffs. They got to make them with cheap labor. They get to make them with cheap labor. Brian, I'm not talking about the American market here. the Chinese EVs are not allowed in America. There's already tariffs on them. Targeted tariffs I don't view as inherently bad. All across the board tariffs, pretty stupid. But the Chinese EVs are selling well in China, in Europe, all across the world. This is what happens when you embrace the market to a degree in an intelligent way. Morning here says, you seem like a very informed young man. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Morning Gardener Show. Feel free to leave a like. Feel free to subscribe. Frankly, there's 25 people here, folks. Let's get those likes up to 10. That's the goal. But thank you. I appreciate it. Nicholas says, yo, bro, you should call into one of these right-wing streams, live calls and debates if you're interested. Nah, I want to be able to make sure that I want to bring it to my platform. I don't really want to go to their platform. I got to build up here. I wouldn't mind doing like debates and all that stuff in other platforms, but it just has to be worth it. Just like talking from a content level perspective, right? Like, I think me going and debating Ben Shapiro in Jubilee, I think that's more worth my time than like debating a small right-winger at my similar level. Otherwise, I could spend that time here on this stream, kind of focused on building up here. But yes, Brian, I don't know if you support the tariffs, but it's going to screw our industry as well. Al says, I got a question. I'm not one for the politics, but I never asked. Wait, I'm not one for politics, but there was a question I never asked. You might be good to ask for this. Feel free to ask. Trixie says, I'm not seeing as many bargains on slave-made products on AliExpress these days. I don't really know what you're talking about. Chinese products still exist. Yeah, they still exist. I don't know exactly what you're saying there. And Nicholas Press says, I mean fair, but don't you think it's a bit more intellectually productive than arguing with a YouTube chat? I mean, generally people call in. Today's just a little bit of a slow day. Maybe it's a slow time, right? But in general, I don't mind going on other platforms. It just has to be worth it. Like going on, like, for example, I used to go on this one streamer's show all the time, late at night. I got nothing from it when it came to content. Now, I had the experience of debating people when it was a decent learning experience, I suppose. I'm not complaining about it. But my content or my channel did not benefit at all from appearing on a much bigger platform with consistent viewership every night. I was just kind of doing content for somebody else, right? What's the difference between left and right wing? I hear those terms, but I don't understand it. So left wing, I think if we're talking really grand in history, left wing means changing something. Generally, right wing either means you're trying to keep it the same or you're either reverting. So when there's left wing economics, you want to sort of make the economic system better. To a degree, it depends on how far left you are, right? When you're conservative, you either want to maintain the status quo or you want to go back. So what would it be going back be? Deregulating, having a more classical economics approach rather than the Keynesian economics approach. Deregulating, privatizing, austerity, cutting things. Meanwhile, a left-wing person might say, okay, we want to grow the economy, we got to invest in the country, let's do a high-speed rail project, let's build some trains, let's create some jobs, and let's create something, the train. That would be an economic benefit to people in the long run. When it comes to social issues, left-wing people tend to be more open to new things and progressive on those issues. When it comes to social issues, conservatives tend to be more closed-minded. Trixie, I'm going beyond just party dynamics, right? I'm not just talking about Democrats equal left, Republicans equal right, because a lot of Democrats are on the right, you know? I'm talking about the Joe Manchins. I'm talking about Joe Biden. His entire political career was one of the more conservative Democrats in this country. So it's not just, oh, we're going to go based on party. And among these, like, left and right people, there is sort of variety on how maybe authoritarian they are. There's left-wing people that are more libertarian in the sense they want more personal freedoms, and then there's more authoritarians on the left. There's on the right, there's people that are concerned about personal freedom and so on and so forth, but then there's more authoritarians on the right, you know? There's a range. The political spectrum, like that whole like 4-quadrant thing is not perfect, but I think it's kind of a good frame of reference, you know? Alright, what did I miss? So left is progressive change, right is old school, leave it how it is type thing. In a way, but there are people on the right that want to go So there are many people on the right that don't want to maintain the status quo. They want to go back to... If you just think about it on an economic way, the further left you go, maybe you go more towards socialism. The further right you go, the more you go towards feudalism. You get what I'm saying? Donald Trump is not left-wing. Donald Trump is absolutely right-wing, particularly as focused on economics. He's just doing what Republicans have always done from Bush to Reagan. Deregulate, 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 austerity, 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 tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. The rich need more, give them more. That's Donald Trump. When it comes to his social views, I don't think he cares about gay people, trans people, abortion, whatever. But he just does what it takes to win votes. He just does what it takes to win votes. So he might say, oh yeah, I definitely care about transgender people today. Like, I don't like them or whatever. But then in 2016, he was like, yeah, trans people should be able to use whatever bathroom they want. It doesn't matter. You're only making it a problem. Trump used to be a Democrat until about 10 years ago. No, he was a Republican beforehand as well. And he might have personally been a Democrat, but that doesn't really matter. It's not like the Democratic Party is like suddenly shifting to the left. The Democratic Party has been run by more and more and more right-wing people since the 80s, with the exception of in the maybe the last few years. I think there's been some change in a good direction, sort of back to New Deal economics. But the Overton window in this nation has moved so far to the right, particularly after Ronald Reagan and neoliberalism became the standard, and Donald Trump is a neoliberal in the same way Bill Clinton is, in the same way as George Bush and Barack Obama. Now, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, I think did marginally better things. I mean, Obama gets a little bit more than marginal. But again, they're all fundamentally neoliberalist. Or neoliberals, sorry. Rush says, I met Joe Biden once. He was very nice. Well, that's nice, Rush. Very cool, very cool. I met a few politicians in my time. Not like Joe Biden. Not anybody at the sort of presidential level. But I sort of get it now. Still complex, but I'm from Australia. We're not being connected to society. Not having knowledge about society. Yeah, I feel that. Which politicians? I met Charlie Crist once, but I met a lot of local people. Met people in Florida politics, particular. Well, yeah, no, this country, particularly with Reagan, has moved the sort of Overton window so far to the right. And meanwhile, before Reagan, we had Roosevelt move this country more to the left, and that became the standard bearer, even among Democrats, even among Republicans, whether we're talking about the continuation of the New Deal policies, vision with the Great Society, or we're talking about the interstate highway done under Eisenhower, a Republican. That was a massive infrastructure investment. That was a continuation of that New Deal philosophy. I pay more attention now because of the wars. I keep getting the feeling that as well. I don't think we're going to end up in like some big like World War II style conflict. But, you know, they're more than willing to send us to war against, you know, weaker nations potentially. I can see us invading fucking Panama. And no soldier should die in Canada. Or Panama. It's a completely unjust war. Does lying make you feel powerful? Where's the lie? Call into the stream, man. There's a phone number here, 305-209-5560. If I'm lying, correct me. I want to be corrected. I want to tell the truth. Where did I lie, bro? Where did I lie? Are we going to debate history? Are we going to be debating neoliberalism, New Deal economics, Keynesianism, classical economics? Is that what we're going to be talking about? Because you can call in and we can talk about that. Because that's what I was just talking about. And I'm curious where I was lying. Because I don't think I was lying. I feel congested on stream sometimes, man. And then when you're out here talking, it's not exactly what you want. Takes the bass out, you know. Trump and Elon will hurt you? Yeah. Going after the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau, or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that fucks you over. An agency that returned money to returned $21 billion to Americans for a fraction of the cost. Taking that agency out, that hurts you, but it benefits Elon, so don't worry about it. Making the National Labor Relations Board essentially a fucking empty office. That are the people that make sure labor laws enforced. Those are the people that make sure you can unionize. The Trump administration made it clear they're in the pocket of big business. They're not in the pocket of the workers. So if you're a worker, yes, they will hurt you. Rugged says, what about all that stupid waste stuff Democrats spent in Doge? Well, Democrats, I understand, are not running Doge. Elon's running Doge. I'm assuming you're talking about U.S. aid. If you don't like it, pass a bill. That's it. Pass a bill, get the aid funding cut. There's a process, not unilateral power by the executive. The courts have already told Donald Trump to keep the funding flowing. You're acting in an unconstitutional manner, and they're making the statements openly violating the courts, and just they're openly violating the courts in action. People already died as a direct result of their actions, receiving no more oxygen. Exactly. And we also have, that is true, people in hospitals, but we also have food sitting in a port in Texas or something that was supposed to be sent out, that was already placed there, and it's just been sitting there because they don't know what to do about it. For the Trump supporters, whether or not you like U.S. aid as a program, should that food that's currently sitting and rotting, well, I don't know if it's rotting, it's probably like canned food, last over, can last a trip going across the ocean. But that food, should we just let it sit there? Or should it go feed some hungry people? Right? To correct you for your precious lie from Wikipedia. What? Well, what's my lie? Where was my lie? Then where it says, when were they founded? When was who founded? USAID? The 1960s, I believe, under Kennedy. What's your stance on immigration and religion across the board? I mean, I am religious. I'm a Christian. And when it comes to immigration, I'm for more immigrants because, labor shortages need to be filled. And people that are here and willing to work should have that right to work. Simple as that. I think our immigration system is super inefficient, and that's what it encourages illegal immigration, and we should fix that. But really, you're not getting a solution on that issue from Donald Trump. He only wants to do mass deportations. He doesn't want to fix the system, and ultimately, people, human beings, we're not necessarily above the economy. There's economic demand for these people's labor, and they will keep coming. Wait a minute. Kyle, were you listening? My guy said the 1960s when the USA was founded. I was talking about USAID. USAID, the program that was being discussed earlier. Pay attention, brother. Not having a dig, just curious on people's thoughts. I like hearing people's thoughts. Yeah. Trixie A says, that was from Wikipedia. What was from Wikipedia? What are you specifically talking about? What was from Wikipedia, brother? You're talking about the functions of the government? You gotta pass a bill? When I was saying that if you want something done, pass a bill through Congress, get it signed by the president, and there you go, it's enforceable? Because that's like basic constitutionality, man. Kyle says, I just got here, all I heard was US. No problem, brother. My nose was a little congested, so maybe the aid wasn't clear, Don't worry about it, man. Got phlegm, man. But, I am genuinely curious, what is the Wikipedia thing you're talking about? Did you send, like, a message before? No, when was the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, when was it founded? Oh yeah, it was founded much more recently, but nonetheless it returned $21 billion to the American people. Does it matter when it was founded or not? Yeah, it wasn't established in 1776, but it returned $21 billion in a pretty short period of time. So yeah, I support people that were victims of fraud getting their fucking money back. It's a good thing. What would you predict America might be like in 4 years? I think the economy is going to be bad, both here at home, but also other governments in general are making pretty bad economic decisions, and ideally that makes a good opportunity to have the pendulum swing a bit. But that's the big thing. The economy is going to be bad. People are going to be suffering, and so on and so forth. Wikipedia, August. Donald Trump changed his party affiliation in the Democrats in 2001. In 2009, he changed it back to Republican. Yeah, I mean, he was part of the Democratic Party, but ideologically, does that mean he aligned with Lyndon Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt? No. He was always a right-wing guy. He was a political donor. I'm sure on the social issues, he doesn't give a fuck about gay people or trans people or whatever. He's from New York, after all. But on economics, he's always been right-wing. It doesn't matter what party you are. You can be a right-wing Democrat. This person says 2008. You're talking about that's when the CFPP was founded. That's what you're claiming. Yeah, it doesn't matter when it was founded. It's done some damn good work since 2008. And also, it was founded in 2011, to be clear. To be clear, it was founded in 2011. Are you arguing that Doge isn't finding mass amounts of fraud? No. Yeah, I don't think they are. But neither did Biden. I don't know what you're referring to with Biden there. It says, I can agree. I feel like it's going to get worse each year, not just in America, but even where I'm at, and going down further down the rabbit hole. I mean, generally, I'm optimistic. I think sometimes you just need some tough times in order to sort of wake up. You need some cold water on your face to wake up, you know? And Donald Trump, I think, if he's going to serve any purpose, it's to wake us up. You know? In the sense that he's putting the corruption, he's putting the fraud in our face. He's committing the fraud. He's giving the money to his friends. He's taken out the agencies that return money to the regular working class people of this country. Because the richest man in the world says so. Grandpa Duh 45 says you're a biased leftist. Okay, maybe I have a bias. I don't deny bias. Tell me where I'm wrong, though. Tell me where I'm incorrect. Feel free. Trump derangement syndrome. Tell me where I'm incorrect. I think that agencies that return money to people that were victims of fraud should exist, right? Especially when those agencies cost nothing in the grand scheme of things. Especially when you talk about the return on investment, right? Alice says, I'm too used to tough times, so maybe it's my negative mindset, haha, but I would love to be hopeful for a better future. Though if I change my mindset, yeah, no, I understand. I get it. I feel you, bro. I feel you. It's not only the money that the CFPB returned to people directly, it's also the money that they save the people just in general by going after bad practices. Let's say, like, fees that are ridiculous and they put a cap on the fees. It saves people billions. And Doge found over 200K money was sent to study the effects of alcohol on sunfish. Where's the source on that? Is the source Doge? Is the source Elon Musk? Because I would like to see more verification beyond that individual if you want to talk about bias. And even if that was true, that's fucking pennies compared to the money that Elon's receiving through government aid. $300,000 to drag queen contest in the Philippines and South America. Again, I would love to see the source on that. Trixie says he's popular because he's a moderate. Who? Trump? Trump's not a moderate. Increasing the debt. Trillions of dollars. The deficit. Because you want to do tax cuts for the rich. That isn't moderate. Mr. Sunshine says, hi. Hello, Mr. Sunshine. Appreciate you for watching. Leave some likes. If the source is specifically Elon Musk or Doge, I would like to know. Where is your source? Source for what specifically? I'm asking you for the source, or I'm asking the gentleman for the source about all these things that Doge is definitely saving. Or are you talking about when Donald Trump added trillions to the deficit? He added trillions to the deficit. You can just look at the deficit during his presidency because of his economic policies, because of the tax cuts for the rich. Revenue went down while costs went up. He increased spending and cut revenues. Therefore, cost goes up. Deficit goes up. He increased the deficit more than any other president in history. And he also reversed the trend. No, it's not just COVID. COVID was not a thing in 2017 when the tax bill was passed. So every single year of Donald Trump's presidency, he increases the deficit. You can't just say COVID, 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 COVID. We spent millions in Ghana, which 99% of people can't find on a map. We spent fucking millions to study if helmets and seatbelts work during the Biden administration, just as the congressman said. Answer for free, they work. Now, let's be clear. Again, would love to find the source on that, but let's just go to Ghana. What are we spending in Ghana? Let's say it's for food aid or something. If food aid is being sent to Ghana in the tone of millions of dollars, again, if you don't like it, pass a bill to stop the funding. That's the process that was that we founded in the founding documents. You can say it wasn't for. You can fact check me on Congress' own website. Nothing to do with Doge. Which Congress member? One of these fucking sycophants that say that Donald Trump should be able to run a third time? It was a study to find helmets and seatbelt work. Listen, you can dislike specific studies, but pass a bill, get it signed by the president, and defund those studies. You do not just unilaterally get to decide, oh man, the president let me. The president does not get to decide, oh yeah, I don't like this aspect of the bill, I don't like this aspect of the bill, I don't like this aspect of the bill. If it was signed into laws, then it's a law. That's how the process works. Rugged says, what about these meals we sent to terrorists? Why the hell would we do that? What terrorist? What terrorist? Give me a terrorist. I would like to teach you the difference between the budget, the deficit, and the national debt. Trixie, call in, brother. I don't know if your name's Trixie or not. There you go, my guy. There's your proof. What's the proof? Congress? You didn't tell me which Congress member to even look up. Come on, man. You're not giving proof. Pull it up and read it. Tell me what Congress member to search. And again, does that disprove the Constitution that says Congress pushes the bills, writes the bills, it goes to the president, he either signs or vetoes it, and then it's a law? Why do you not follow the law? Why do you not follow the Constitution? You're not the judges. You're not, Donald Trump is not this person that can go, this is unconstitutional, therefore cannot be put into law. Donald Trump's not the guy that can do that, and certainly not Elon Musk, who bought his way into government. Again, you guys can call in, have a conversation. If you're MAGA, if you disagree, there's a number above my head, 305-209-5560. I'm honestly low-key bored as fuck, man. Because I like to do the debates. And MAGA just ain't debating. I might have to pull up TikTok if I want suspended from there. Executive order does not get to contradict with existing laws. An executive order is not the order of a king. An executive order does not get to say like Bill A does thing, gets money, was signed into law. You cannot then just, oh, I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh, I don't like it. The president does not even have single line vetoes, which lets you go into a bill, veto a certain part, or change a certain part about it. They don't have that power. So you're gonna tell me that a bureaucrat in Elon Musk can just say, well, I don't really like this plan, so we're gonna cut funding off. Pass a bill. Follow the Constitution. Executive order would slap as a menu dish option. Yeah, that's true. Aaron says, you don't debate, though. You just talk over people. I will gladly have... I've had civil conversations with people that show respect. If you don't show respect, I will talk over you. I will match your energy. Simple as that. That's life in general. That's a good tip when you're going around interacting with people. Treat them with respect and they'll treat you with respect. Hey, Blue Delulu, don't you have to like it? You don't have to like it. You just have to deal with it. Brian Crowder. Grown-ass man. We're having debates. We're having conversations. Feel free to call in and say why these things are good ideas. Where was that mindset when Biden was president? Biden did not violate the Constitution in the sense that Donald Trump is doing. I don't really know any particular way Biden violated the Constitution. But when a court said, don't, for example, do this executive order, he didn't say, fuck the courts. He said, I'm going to do things the constitutional way, and he shot down that plan. He didn't go into existing administrations that were passed by Congress, signed by the president, and say, we're not going to do this anymore. Debates are successful, Aaron, if both parties are civil. He's been civil with me with my questions. Exactly. My guy, he pardoned his own son after telling the American people he wouldn't. That's, first of all, just lying is not a violation of the Constitution. Otherwise, you know, you should be real mad about Donald Trump. Second of all, Donald Trump pardoned Jared Kushner's dad. They do pardons that we don't approve of. Okay? Guns. You can still own and buy a gun. Donald Trump pushed gun reform too. He was the one that banned the bump stocks. You can still buy a gun under Joe Biden. Nobody was stopped from buying a gun. Right? Pistol braces and FRT. Again, certain regulations happen, and you can bring up you can bring it up to the Supreme Court. If it passed through the courts, they found it constitutional. Again, feel free to call and have a conversation. Trixie, if you want to complain about Hunter Biden's corruption, I agree with you. He shouldn't have been on the board of Burisma. Do you then think that Jared Kushner should not receive $2 billion from Saudi Arabia to do their bidding? Do you not think that maybe Jared Kushner's dad should probably serve his time? They were deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Explain that one. If they were deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, Biden didn't push it. The Supreme Court has the ability to shoot down laws. If it passes Congress, if it passes the president, it gets to the Supreme Court, they can say it's not going to happen, it's unconstitutional. And the question is, are you going to follow that? Every other president in the history of this country said we're going to follow that. Donald Trump is the one making the statements today saying that the person that saves America can't violate the law. The judges, who cares what the judges say? He did push it to the Supreme Court, and it overruled him. Yes! So then what happened after? It wasn't done, because the Supreme Court said no. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is letting Elon run amok. The courts are telling him, this is not how it's supposed to work, this is unconstitutional, get this shit back up and running, and he's telling the courts to go fuck themselves. When courts told Biden to do something, he listened. When Trump is being told this is unconstitutional by the courts, he's saying fuck him. Trixie says, I would like to share her stock tips with the middle class. Brother, I understand that you guys are on this team sports shit. Fuck Nancy Pelosi, okay? Fuck the insider trading. None of them should do insider trading. In the same way that Trump's kids should not be out here taking money from foreign governments and Trump's businesses directly. Why did Biden step down weeks after he said he was still a candidate? His poor showing during the debate was the pivot. Yeah. He's fucking old. Democrats have been complaining about that within the Democratic Party. Of course, the establishment was like, we can't get rid of a fucking sitting president. But then it became clear after the debate. If only you guys had the same level of concern when your guy is going out there talking about Arnold Palmer's dick and letting Elon run this country. Imagine if George Soros was out there in a position because Joe Biden gave him a position and deleting agencies he didn't like. It was done, then it was finally undone. Thank God for Donald Trump. It wasn't done. There's no case of Joe Biden overruling the court. There's not a single case. That would have been national headlines and we would have heard the end of it. But when Republicans do it, well, you guys will defend it. Oh, it's an executive order. The president can do whatever they want. Doesn't matter what the courts say. He's looking real frail lately. Defeated. Musk owns him. Yeah, no, it's bizarre. Richest guy, a billionaire himself, is eaten by a bigger billionaire. You guys think that Donald Trump's really running the show? Number one, he does what the donors want in general. Number two, it's pretty clear the ideological mover in this administration, the big difference, is that there is ideology driving this administration. Elon Musk is the core of its ideology. Trixie says, I would have liked to see Kamala lose in the primary. Yeah, so would I, but the primary already happened. Votes were cast. Biden won. So he steps down. If he fucking died, then his vice president would step up. At the end of the day, there is a process. If it would happen in the Republicans too. If Donald Trump stepped down at the same time, it would not be another primary is going to take place within a month. It would be in the party convention. The party members are going to make that decision. Democrats and Republicans would do the fucking same thing if they were put in the same scenario. It turns out that the party members of the Democratic Party voted for Kamala Harris. So how did Kamala become the Democratic nominee? Never in my lifetime did I see a candidate inserted at the 11th hour. Again, there was a time in this country where in general primaries and caucuses and the way we saw them were not really a thing. It was always party decisions. Democratic Party is a private institution. At the end of the day, Joe Biden won the primary. He had competitors. He won more votes. So he stepped down, and he personally endorsed Kamala Harris. But if a Democratic politician wanted to step up and run to be the presidential nominee, they could have. And they could have gotten the votes from DNC members. But they didn't. The DNC members went with Kamala. Simple as that. Is that ideal? No, but what do you do when your fucking guy is dying and he already won the votes? Rugged Wild says it was a play. Okay, even if it was a play. She lost. Why are you hyperfixating on the candidate that lost? As if she won. As if she has any power. Kamala was not my ideal pick. What are your thoughts on the Second Amendment? It exists. There's always regulations to certain amendments. There's regulations to the First Amendment. There should be regulations on the Second Amendment. It was written in a time where the founders of this country really couldn't put or conceive of what technology would come. But at the end of the day, it exists. People will always own guns in America. You know? Got a role player in the comments here. Interesting. But folks, MAGA, call in, man. What is going on? Is it just a certain hour of the day MAGA just doesn't have the energy to do debates? Here. Let me try this.